Hello, Cancer. How are you? Well, my name is Raina, and this is a mid-June 2019 tarot update for the rest of June. So, Cancer, you are going to have a solar return if you are in that first 10 degrees of Cancer, or which is called a decan. And happy birthday to those of you who are in this early Cancer period. As you know, the solstice is when the sun goes into your sign, so that's pretty special. And I'm going to do a separate video for the solstice, actually. But I wanted to give a shout out to you because you're the sign that goes into that new season. I wish everything was the summer so I could just say summer solstice, but I can't. Too many Australians and New Zealanders out there. Okay. Actually, New Zealand is probably a very small country, is it not? There's probably not a very large population. I have no idea, but I'm just guessing. I can't believe I took so much time to say that. And I actually had somebody, I think, write to me and say that they were a Kiwi, so I guess that's what they call you guys from New Zealand, so. Okay. So, as we head to mid-month, the focus goes on the fourth house of home and family. Now this is the Four of Wands. This actually does connect with home. That's why there is a home. And you see, like, you know, the couple and they're celebrating, and could be marriage, but a new home. If you're moving house, closing on a home, but that sense of harmony, joy, I guess I would say excitement about something domestic. Of course, it doesn't take much to get a Cancer person excited about domestic affairs, but this could be something special. If you're getting married, if you're buying a home, or simply maybe you're expecting a new bundle of joy, who knows. But this is Wands energy, so it's fire energy. So there's a sense of real passion that's associated with it. It's not just being practical and having this well-ordered home. It's like, you know, I'm joyful about this. So I like to see that, because that should be something that is very much kind of like on the minds of people when they're, you know, maybe looking to get married, looking to start a family. And actually, perhaps this is on your mind. Maybe you're like in a relationship and you're not sure if it you know, is kind of meeting those goals. In the past position, we have another four, the Four of Wands. Now you see this person kind of chilling. This is a card of restoring oneself, rejuvenation, but it can be like taking time out for personal reflection. So I would even say, if this is a relationship issue, you may be even separated from a spouse, because this is a bone of contention, what the Four of Wands represents. Maybe you're with somebody who is kind of a rageaholic or otherwise disruptive in the home, and it has turned the home into like a negative environment. And you just can't, you know, Cancer is a water sign and you're a natural empath, and this affects you very deeply. Whereas other people can kind of brush it off more easily. You take things to heart very, very easily, and you want to be comfortable in your personal relationships. Not to say that we all don't, but some people kind of thrive on drama more than others, and you're just very much wanting a respectful relationship and home life. And you may not be getting that, and that may be problematic for you. There, I mean, it's possible that this is even related to neighbors or your immediate environment. And if you have another residence, like a summer home, you may have gone there to kind of get away from the problems. You might have, I mean, this may have been like your dream house, something that you thought that was going to be perfect, and then you found out that there was some problem. An example would be, I'm throwing this out there because I actually was thinking about this the other day. I've never owned property, but, I was going by this area where there's these homes that, go for, $1 million or $2 million. And I heard, when I hear dogs barking, I think, can you imagine dropping $1 million on a house only to find out that these geniuses next door let their dogs out at, late at night barking. And here you have you're sitting at, you got $1 million house and you got to deal with these people. So maybe you try to, work with them and you didn't get a good response. And so you're kind of like taking that approach of like taking time out from it. And that is, that may not really work because you still have to face it, what have you. And we have here in the higher perspective, the Two of Pentacles, which this is kind of the spiritual message. This is the juggler, someone who is really maybe working 2 jobs and a lot of being harried. I'm almost thinking that this may be you may have a house that is hard to afford. Like maybe it's something you thought was, oh wow, this is my dream house, but now you have to work 2 jobs or something. Because like the Four of Wands to me, Swords to me is like a card of maybe even trying to avoid getting burned out. And so you may even be on medical leave or something like that. And it may even be more of a mental like stress than actual physical, because swords relate to thoughts, okay, communication in general. But with the Four of Swords, 4 is the number of like organization, like foundation and things like that. And so it's getting everything, getting your thoughts grounded. Maybe you've been kind of like, and I did get the Nine of Swords, of that anxiety, kind of like racing thoughts and things like that. Maybe you're trying to kind of like keep yourself from getting into mental exhaustion or something. And it could be stress at work and things like that. The Two of Pentacles may mean you're stretching yourself too thin. Maybe you're taking care of a parent, an ailing or elderly parent. And you're just, Cancer is this caretaker type of a person. So you may be, you may have to tend to your own garden. And maybe you're trying to help other people too much and you're stretching yourself too thin. And being able to say no kindly and decisively may be in order for you. Maybe you have to pare down some of your obligations so that you can, so that you don't neglect your home. Or it could simply mean that you just are trying to hold on to a property that is too, that's gotten too expensive. Maybe the taxes are outrageous, and you don't have that joy because you can't even enjoy it. You're working, all these hours. So all of that can be at stake here. What crosses you is the Page of Swords. So I'm reading this in the reversed way. Pages can be children, especially this could be a child with a learning disability. And again, if you're like very busy, you may not have time for your family the way that you should, and you may have a child who needs your help especially. If you have multiple children, it's possible that you have children that are very self-sufficient, and then you have one child who needs extra care. And you can't compare one child to the other and just say, oh, well, that child's just being difficult. No, they may have other things going on. And this would be more of, like if they have a learning disability, it may create frustration within them. At school, they may feel inferior. It's a whole chain of events. This could be a spouse who is just like I had said earlier. This could be somebody who is like very immature, and they have almost like a paranoia. They automatically accuse you of putting them down, or maybe they're gaslighting you because they want that control. Especially if they are like literal air signs, they may, that may be how they try to wrestle control from a situation. So they may try to get you questioning yourself and, your own I was going to say, you might question your sanity, but questioning your own truth and poking holes in it. And it's all because they are emotionally undeveloped, and the only thing they know how to do is to kind of, use insults. When we're talking about the warfare of swords, it's going to be on the verbal level, like verbal abuse, and also, as I said, gaslighting, which is basically mental manipulation, trying to accuse you of things that they're doing, or trying to get you to question your own beliefs and make you think that you're crazy. And it's up to you, Gemini. I mean, I was thinking of Geminis. It's up to you, Cancer, to not give into that. Actually, it's funny, Cancer, I just did Gemini's reading, and I was actually thinking of this connection between a Gemini and a Cancer, and maybe that's why I said that. Maybe you are involved with a Gemini. And I could see a Gemini especially doing that, because there is, in some Gemini people, that tendency, because, being ruled by Mercury, mercurial, kind of changeable, morphing into something else. And that maybe you thought you got one person and you get another person. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of a deal. So again, like for instance, if this is like an infidelity, for instance, then we have here the Ten of Swords, where this is the advice. Realizing that you have been betrayed. So somebody telling you that you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. This Two of Pentacles, it could be somebody juggling two affairs, or looking at these relationships in the bodily consciousness of the Pentacles instead of like a more emotional thing. But realizing that and not being in denial over it, okay? Even if you're being gaslit, is that the verb, the tense of the verb? And the other thing about this is in a this, I mean, even the Page of Swords can even be a boss. I want you to know that too. And actually, with the higher message, if this is like a situation with a boss, the higher message may be that you should get another job, because then you have something to fall back on in case you abruptly decide to quit because you just can't take it anymore. Because with the Four of Swords, if you have taken time off of work, Cancer, you may be getting crap at work about that. They may be kind of like acting like you don't have a right to take off that time. Even if it's in the rule books, they may be trying to make you feel like you're a slacker. Actually, the Page of Swords, this could be someone who is like a coworker, who is like a real backbiter. They may be feeding the boss, because the Page of Swords can be a spy, but this could be like a double agent, okay? And they may be like really feeding the boss with a lot of garbage about you and trying to poison the well with the boss so that you look like, they could be like a flying monkey or something, And the thing that you have to understand, Cancer, is that they may, to your face, be all sweetness and light. So don't think that if somebody's treating you well, I don't want to make you paranoid, but, it's possible. Some people are so weird in the office place, as far as I'm concerned, from my brief forays into that life, which has been by and large unpleasant, to be honest with you, because I'm glad that I'm working for myself, because I just am so dismayed that people act like that. And maybe I just, found myself in bad situations. But I think part of the problem is that some people have, material consciousness to such a degree that it's like kind of that reptilian brain where it's all about survival and everybody is fodder for being thrown under the bus and being, just talked smack about, just so that, the end justifies the means, because, hey, I got to survive and tough luck to you if you, I happen to throw shade at you, to the boss and stuff. And I don't think like that. And I hope that many of you don't think like that either, is that, I'm sure that you don't, because if you're interested in spiritual things, you probably think about others too, and not just yourself. So understand that not everybody's like you. Okay, I think that's the best way of putting it. Yeah, there you go. Is that you may be very kind-hearted and you may be very caring to your fellow man and woman, but other people are not like that. And that may be why it's hard for you to admit that you've been betrayed. Not because you're just like in La La Land, because you really think that everybody's as honorable as you are, Cancer. So realize that they're not. Realize that some people are really lost and move on. And start spreading the news. Page of Wands. Good news. Good communications. Maybe like, right when you're thinking about quitting, you get an email from somebody. Hey, are you by any chance looking for a job? I've got this job from your dream company that you kind of put out feelers to a few years ago, and then you ended up taking this job. Something like that. And this can come at the 11th hour. So realize that, and I want to say something too. You're going to have your solar eclipse, right, in your sign. This can, definitely happen in June for you, even though it's not officially the date. The official date is July 2nd. Now, it's even after that date, you can see a lot of changes. This is, I was going to say specifically, but it's kind of in the broad sense about your life. Okay, so can it be work? Yes. Can it be your, relationships? Yeah. It's just basically you changing. And because this is a solar eclipse, it's planting new seeds. Now, this is your birthday new moon, but it happens to be a solar eclipse. So, Cancer, you're really, this is really your time to shine and to understand that good things are coming your way, whether you can see them or not. And sometimes, how they say it's darkest before the dawn? Yes, this card is actually, to be honest with you, also about, 10 is the number of completion. This is about the end of a cycle. And this could be saying the worst is over, okay? So it's like it could be all up from here. And if you're in the northern hemisphere, tying in the summer solstice, this is, the height of the time, or actually I should have said the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere, it is going to be all up from here, right? So, especially for you down under, the winter solstice is a great celebration of the lowest point, and then you're kind of climbing out of that. But even in the Northern Hemisphere, that height, that apex, and the sun going into your sign, what a great time for you. What a power period. So I hope that you have a wonderful birthday, and I hope that you look out for great messages coming your way that will uplift you. But also, I want you to speak in positive ways, okay? The Page of Wands can also be a new endeavor that is very exciting for you. And so maybe you have to go through this to get to that, right? So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this, Cancer. If you would like a private reading, right now, if you order a natal chart interpretation and you are born in the month of June, you can get 22% off. I will put the coupon code for that below. Have a great rest of June. Take care. Bye.